Hello and welcome to MX5 Unleashed. I'm going to be talking about my car today because it's really available, and I've been preparing it for a turbo for about a year now. My car is a 1990 Miata, and obviously been modified and painted orange. This is how it originally looked, other than lights, intake, and tires been changed already. And this is how it looks now. And here are some modifications. First, to lighten the weight, we put Cossy racing rims. They're about 9.5 pounds, and they're pretty inexpensive for how light they are. Okay, here we have custom drill and slotted disc brakes, Hawks HPS pads, which I think are the best, and the shocks are adjustable to 5 position. Also, I put a brace underneath the car. Okay, these guys right here are used for sucking air from a wheel well at higher speeds. The wind goes past here, creates a little vacuum here, and this will suck the air inward and out. Also, this bottom protects greatly the paint job over here, because when the wheel spins, all the rocks are hitting here. So this is pretty nifty little thing, and it's made of aluminum, and it's pretty light. This thing right here is a side skirt. It prevents the air from going underneath the car and creates a little more suction. And this actually been taken from RX-8 and adapted to the MX-5. You may wonder why we have two different types of rims on the front and the back. Well, later in the show, I'm sure you'll understand why. Over here we have drilled and slotted brakes also. I always recommend for the front to mostly be just slotted brakes, because you need as much brake surface as possible. While in the back you can have drilled, because you want as light as possible. The rotational weight's better and all that stuff. In the back we have Duralast Gold from AutoZone, which are my favorite brake pads, but for some reason in their wisdom, AutoZone said that we only need the rear brakes pads. We don't make Duralast Gold for the front. I don't know what it is all that about, but whatever. The bushings in the sway bar are polyurethane also. In the back we have a from new Honda Civic a spoiler, which was modified to fit the MX-5. I think it's very stylish and it's also functional. Over here, these vents are for ducts that go behind this and from underneath, so it actually sucks when the air passes through, it creates a little vacuum here, and it sucks the air from underneath the car to press it more down and have some more downforce. The exhaust was modified to be in the middle. At first I had a glass back, but on the truck it sounded great, and it had a little backfire when I let go of the gas, and with the helmet on it was great, but this is my daily driver, and anywhere else my ears were bleeding. I had to drive with my earplugs in. Also underneath there's a brace for stiffening up the rear suspension. On the inside we have a bar across the safety belts towers that provides extra stiffness for the car, and of course a roll bar for the safety. Okay, on the inside we have 2 gauges added, which one of them is vacuum boost and the other one is fuel air mixture gauge. Also the shifter been shortened about 1/2 inch for quicker throws, and we have a USB plug-in for Mega Squirt plug and play, which is a great computer for if you want to edit your own maps and so on. Also over here I added a shift light, which lights up around 7,000 RPMs, and it's so bright that you either shift or go blind. On the hood we have vents on both sides for taking out the hot air. Over here we have a fuel pressure gauge. Here is a little LED, came with a sprinkler, hooked it up at night, it lifts up the gauge. And over here we have another vent. It's actually, the engine sits about here. So when the fans blow the air from a radiator, it hits the engine and lifts up. This guy right here is my intake. It's a cold air intake and actually connects to the airbox inside. This is where the ram air forces the air into, goes to the airbox. The original airflow sensor was removed for the air temperature sensor. Other changes on the engine, all the vacuum lines been switched to silicone lines. Radiator is a coil radiator, all aluminum. I changed the cooling system a little bit because it used to come out of the heater and go right underneath the header. So I didn't understand that they wanting to try to heat up the water or what, because obviously you want to keep it as cool as possible. So now the water splits into two, and one returns to the engine, but it's all around the header, and then one goes to the little cooler in front and goes back to the water system, and that keeps the car very cool even in the summer with the AC blowing. We have a oil air separator here, and then the oil actually returns back to the engine, so you don't have to ever drain it. The hoses now are silicone wrapped. The ignition system we been upgraded a little bit. We have the 8.8 XL wires for it, and then double platinum spark plugs. The oil I'm running is a Torco oil, full synthetic. It's one of the best oils I ever used. It has MPZ in it, which is a great additive. Almost the hotter it gets, the better it works. The injector's been upgraded to the 300 cc's, the ones from Toyota Supra. Fuel now comes from both sides of the rail. The original inlet, and then there's another inlet on the other side that goes here. This is my kind of a splitter that goes from the original line to here. Then one goes back to the front of the fuel rail, and then the other side goes to the back of the fuel rail. And this is where the fuel pressure gauge is mounted also on this little bracket. Also, the top brace has been added to strengthen the car. Now I'd like to test these changes somewhere to see how the car feels before and after the turbo. Obviously we want to do it legally, so where can we do it?